go through this committee meeting, and give us strength, Lord, and wisdom and courage, and we welcome the new members of the council with us today, and we'll all try to get together and work together and make this a successful council. Thank you, Lord, for all your blessings. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call, Shelley.
Joe Bird,
On him.
Bill England,
Here.
Keith Austin,
Here.
Jack Baker,
Here.
Harley Buzzard, Sean Crittenden,
Here.
Don Garvin,
Honey.
Frankie Hargis,
Present.
Wanda Hatfield,
Amen.
Rex Jordan,
Here.
Dick Lay,
Here.
Curtis Snell,
Here.
Denise Taylor,
Here.
David Thornton, Victoria Vasquez,
On it.
David Walkingstick, Brian Warner.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
The minutes were mailed to you at this time. I entertain a motion for approval.
So
Motion
moved.
to be approved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Reports. What I'm going to do with the reports, if you have something that is of most importance, then you're welcome to come up and give your report, or we'll let the reports that are in our booklet here stand as they may. Okay, we will dispense. Counselor Taylor?
Question for somebody from C&B. Is there anybody here that can?
We have anyone from C&B?
It
Yes.
might be, and Doug might be actually able to handle this. There are new regulations concerning credit cards that go into effect October 1st. And I am told that if you do not have the machines that will read the new chip, and it is a new machine just out, that you are liable 100% for any type of fraud on any card you run. And I just want to be sure that we're ready for that.
That's true, and we are ready. Our merchant service account and the profiles with our vendors have all been updated. My understanding right now is we're ready to go.
Okay.
Appreciate
All right.
your question, though, because it reminds me to follow up just to ensure. If I notice a problem, I'll obviously address it. But right now, I believe we're ready for that change for this fall. And if we're not,
We'll get that way. Okay, thank you very much. That's all I have.
Yes. Sharon Swepson, do you have a comment? Okay, that'd be fine. Anybody else that would be on any one of these topics here, or any director that wants to update us on any essential issues here? Okay.
I'll try to make this very brief, but I'm passing out the reports that I generally email. I did not have all of the new councilmen's emails in there, so I wanted to give a hard copy of that report. It's on the expanded jurisdiction and the at-large. And I will be emailing that report to you monthly, so you will receive that on your email. I just want to be real brief. The hunting and fishing, I know that's something that everyone is very interested in. The website has been launched. There is a campaign going out to acquire information from our citizens to update their addresses and social security numbers. Those letters will probably be going out by the end of this week. So if you get questions about that, there's a card enclosed. I need for them to fill that out and put it back in the self-addressed stamped envelope and send it back to us. We also have an email set up. It's on the website, and we have a local phone number and a toll-free number that is statewide for anyone that has questions on the hunting and fishing licenses.
Okay.
We launched the website Friday. We've already gotten 10 updates that have already came back to us via email or fax. So people are embracing this and getting it back into us. So the sooner they get them to us, the sooner we can get things updated. And the online renewals for your motor vehicle car, your car tags, hopefully that's going to be up and running September 1. So that'll be for a regular tag. You'll be able to renew your tag online and do that. I wanted to thank Linda O'Leary and her staff. They have worked very diligently with us for us to be able to do the hunting and fishing, and they have made it possible for us to get the information. So hopefully we're going to kill two birds with one stone. We're going to get updated addresses. It's going to update her records also. So hopefully this will help both sides. And that's all I have.
Any question for Sharon Swepson? Good report.
Thank you.
Attorney General, anything? Good? Gaming Commissioner? Jamie, we good?
You're good.
Okay. Anybody question? Okay. Looks like we're good. Human Resources? Nathan Martin?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm good, everyone else is.
Okay. Well, it's good to see everybody good today. Okay. If that will do with the reports, we'll drop down to old business. Councilor Vasquez?
Yes, this is a resolution authorizing a limited waiver of sovereign immunity, and I move for its approval.
Got a motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay. New business? Counselor Vasquez, you're up again.
Yes, sir. This is number 15-065, a resolution confirming the reappointment of Linda O'Leary as registrar for the Cherokee Nation Registration Committee, and I would move for her approval.
Second.
Got a motion and second. Discussion? Anybody got any questions for Mr. Linda O'Leary? Yeah, Counselor Lay.
I don't have any questions. The discussion is, this lady's worked really hard for us and good for us. I'd like to be added as a sponsor if that's possible.
Okay. Anyone can be added as a sponsor if they choose to. Just raise your hand. Shelley, anyone be added as a sponsor? Yes.
Yeah, just speaking on Linda's behalf, I do a lot of work with the registration department, and I just want to let you know that your staff and the morale there is really high. It's just like breath of fresh air going in there, people smiling. You got good staff up there, and whatever you're doing, just keep up the good work. And I heard you guys have cut down the wait time. It was a 2-year wait, now is it a year and a half wait?
It's actually about 16 months.
16 months.
Yes, we
That's
have
really good.
fast-tracked it.
Yeah. You'll have my support.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Any more comments? Yes. Counselor Austin?
In reading your resume, you pointed out that when you started, there was 15,000 cases
Thank you.
of illegally issued cards. Have those all been cleaned up?
A little over 10,000 have been cleaned up.
Okay, in the cleaning those up, did you find any that were not
I
people who
haven't-
shouldn't have been issued?
In that percentage, usually not. In the overall presentation of those, because I don't think there was any percent that was ineligible. But you have to prepare what we call our CDIB white card first, naturally, and your lineage page, which we call the 8x10. And then a number is issued before it proceeds on to getting the blue card, or the citizenship card. And the blue cards were issued without getting the white card issued first. In other words, the typing wasn't there, they went back to one lineage person and went off of that. So I think the percentage was low, but according to the BIA regs, that was issued illegally. And so,
Illegally,
meaning
that
I.
caught my eye.
Yes, meaning I went to Charles Head and said, this is what I've discovered. What do we need to do? He says, we can't have it, Linda. Start, whatever you have to do, start cleaning it up. And that's what we've done. When we went out to the communities at large, we found a lot of people that had received the blue card and not their white card, their CDIB card. And so we were repeatedly faced with that, plus the questions that surrounded it. And so therefore, we have cleaned those up. And as you've noticed in that report too, that's with our other backlog that we inherited, our 1,200 applications approximately that comes in just to be recognized as Cherokee citizens, plus our 1,200 to 1,500 requests for duplicates, because we do have 321,000 approximately in the tribe. So those duplicates keep coming in. I know that sounds like a large number, but it's actually there.
Any other comments? Yes, Counselor Busser?
Linda, what, in a year's time, what do you anticipate the waiting time to be?
In a year's time, we're behind about 16 months, so in a year's time, we're thinking maybe 6 months, something like that. For clarification, as I think I may explained in that resume that I gave you, when the chief came to me and asked, is there any other way we can do this? When I initially came down here 3 years ago, which was July the 23rd, I kept asking, is there another way we can process this? What can we do? What can we do? Of course, we were set in the old fashion of doing the checks and rechecks and going through 4, 5, 6 people for the certification. In other words, so that there was no errors, okay? In that, I have also discovered that the errors was a 1 to 1.5%. And so we are now going back because we had folks that that loved the typing, didn't like the processing. We had folks that liked the processing, didn't like the typing. So I realized that if I'm sending a letter, I look at it, I type it, I reread it 3 or 4 times to check the errors. So we eliminated a lot of that process of 4 or 5 people handling it to double check it. And our success rate has been extremely high in that. And the errors are non-existent there so far. So I feel like we've done a good job, and we've got some fast typists that we put on that, and then we have our processors. So that eliminated that. And we're also not typing clear back to the DAWS roles. We're going back, which it just hit me one night, and that's what we decided to do. So we've been very successful, and I will brag on our department to this extent. We have actually almost doubled our numbers. Is that not right?
Yes, and if I could, Mr. Chairman, I have watched the registration department as they've made changes, and frankly, had this registrar not made the changes that she made in the process, had the council not seen fit to give additional funds, we would be looking at a much different backlog, a much more troubling backlog, because of just the weight of the demographic trends. There are just a lot of Cherokees being born, right? And there's a lot of interest renewed in the Cherokee Nation with improved services. So there's a tremendous amount of applications that this registrar gets every month because of the changes that she's made and because of the resources that this council has given. She's been able to not just keep up with that demand, but then to actually eclipse it and to reduce that backlog. That's what the people have been asking for, and for that reason and many others, the chief just proudly puts her before you for reconfirmation.
Linda, another question I have is, say a grandparent has a Cherokee citizen card and the parents have the card, and the parents have a young child. How long does it take? Are we doing them now, or are we putting them on wait?
They are on the waiting list.
They're established.
Except, and we do accommodate this, if there's a need for any type of school, like Johnson O'Malley, they've made application and it's not processed yet, we ASAP it. Or medical needs, or things of that nature, we ASAP it. And we do that daily. And then we also process our child welfare request for those children to be eligible. And that takes away from our other workers just normally processing what the over 23,000 backlog that we inherited, plus the 15,000, plus what we have coming in, plus the request for the coat vouchers, clothing vouchers, the JOM, the Angel Tree situation, and all those things, and scholarships that we also look at and take care of, and I sign out for approval. So there's just a multitude of facets that a lot of people in our communities don't realize the extent of what our department covers.
And I know you've answered a lot of questions just then about, I'm wondering why we don't go ahead and process this young child's application if the mother's already established, the grandparents are already established, and the great-great-grandparents are already established.
Because there's probably a child that's 6 months old that's waiting to be established also, or a year old.
Why are we
And
waiting that
and the
long?
newborn,
My question is, why don't we process them at the beginning? I mean, they're already established in the system.
we are doing that along with our other people that's had their applications in. We are doing that. We
Okay,
have the
so-
backlog people we're working on, certain ones. We have the new applications we're working on.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that we'll hopefully get it down to 6 months and a year.
Now, I will say, Councilor Buzzard, we've come a long way.
That's good.
We've come a long way.
Yeah,
You
6
know we
months
have.
sounds good.
Yeah, you know we have.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Counselor Garvin?
My question is about the same as Councilman Buzzard. Looks to me like this young baby could get that card tomorrow and wouldn't have to do all this shuffling paperwork.
Well,
Putting
there's,
it over here and bringing it back, putting it back.
the-
'Cause it's, should be automatic.
There's a lot of young babies.
Pardon?
There's a lot of young babies, and there's
I know
thousands
it.
of applications that
They
come
should
through every
get their
month.
cards the next day.
Thousands of applications that come through every month, and with the changes, instead of being behind that number each month, she's actually ahead of it. And reasonable people can disagree over whether you ought to take somebody that's established and get them a card out tomorrow. Her focus has been on where the need is. So if we have an Indian child welfare person who's sort of hanging in the balance in the court, put full court press on that.
I'm just
But,
trying to save some paperwork and moving that card back and forth.
Counselor Garvin, we would love to save paperwork if we could actually do that. But there's a process, when we meet those BIA requirements, that there's a process that we go through.
So the
With
BIA
that-
is the one who holds it up?
Well, we have the process. They allow us, the only nation of all the nations in the United States that's allowed to determine our own blood quantum. And that's a big responsibility, and it's a great honor to be able to do that. But in that effect of that, we also have to be mindful of the eligibility requirements and the rate of ineligibles that we would have. Now, I know that it sounds simple, say mom and daddy's eligible, so why can't you issue the card the next day? We wish, truly wish that someone could come into that counter and we could issue it immediately. But it's not the scheme of things in the way our department is put together with the backlog of people that this person, if you put this baby here first, next, there may be this person over here that we're looking at eligibility for medical between life and death. So there's other aspects of that it sounds simple, and I thought it was too when I was on the council, but it's not that simple. There's certain regs that we have to meet and that we check and we double check so that those errors aren't there. We also inherited about 2,500 cases that we just found, or not just found, when I came down here, that we found that had been pushed to the back of ineligibles that were supposed to go to the Bureau of Indian Affairs. So not only are we doing what I've explained to you that we do in our backlog and what we inherited, but we're also playing catch-up with those other things that we also inherited and getting those down to the Bureau to let them take a second look at some of those that we had deemed ineligible, so that they have that right and that eligibility to go through the Bureau. So we're dealing with those, about 5,000 of those intermittently with these. There's just a lot of things and facets to this department. It's just big. It just is.
It seems very simple, but I can see your point.
I thought it was too, Councilor Garvin, but it's not.
I got a call on the telephone, they said, so-and-so should be automatic. And
I wish it was. Sure make my job a lot easier, and you wouldn't get the complaints either.
I love those calls. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
That's good. Anybody else? Yeah, Counselor Vasquez?
Thank you. I just have a comment. It might be a good idea for the counselors, if they wish, to come and have you all walk them through the process,
We could
because
certainly be glad
none of
to.
us know what the real process is,
Exactly.
and none of us know what you go through until we see
Exactly.
it. So
It's
this is
part
a-
of orientation.
Yes,
and I think
They'll
we
get
can-
their chance.
right. We'd love to. Thank you.
Anybody else? Well, you know, Linda has said on the slide that you council members has, as she said earlier, she was a former council member as well. And what are our numbers now?
321,000 plus.
321,000. As Secretary alluded to earlier, everyone wants to be Cherokee.
Yes.
And if you go down Main Street here in Tahlequah, people will say they're Cherokee whether they are or not. Now, in the 70s, when I was going to school up here, it was quite the opposite. So we've come a long ways, and I think it is an honor and a privilege to be Cherokee. You shouldn't be born one day and handed a card the next.
That's right.
You know, our ancestors went through a lot to be who we are. So, good. Now, we got any more questions? We'll do this roll call here. You've got a question?
Acclamation.
Acclamation? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
Thank you, council, so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Counselor Taylor. You got the next one.
Yes, this is a resolution confirming the reappointment of Lacey Horn as treasurer for the Cherokee Nation, and I ask for its approval.
We got a motion and a second. Discussion? No discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Go lead,
Congratulations.
TC. I'm grateful.
You got anything to say?
Chief, I was gonna give a good pitch, but,
Thank
Well,
you.
you just stay there. We may need you here in a minute. Congratulations. Okay, Counselor Taylor, you're up again.
Okay, and this is an act related to the deposit and investment of funds, amending Legislative Act 1385, Chapters 2 and 5, and declaring an emergency, and I ask for its approval as well.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Counselor Lane?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lacey, on some of the discussions you and I have had and the back and forth emails, have those changes been made?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are they in your report?
So in the new act, you'll see on page 2, under D, definitional financial instrument, you'll see that there is no longer, forgot how we word it, no longer outlined as an allowable financial instrument corporate bonds. So that has been removed. And then in section 201 requirements, which was formerly point C, requirement for an investment policy has also been removed. And then your third change on page 3, section 204, under section 8, was the last sentence we brought back in. The council may from time to time establish laws governing said funds. And you'll see and regulations is still struck through. That's consistent with the Constitution, Article 10, section 8, I believe.
What page is that? Is that 3?
Yes, sir, page 3.
3.
This second paragraph from the bottom. So you'll see that sentence has been added in. So I believe, sir, that that satisfies all of your requests for changes.
And under this new plan, what plans do you have? I understand there's a banking change that has happened in the past year, even gas. What's going to be your plan going forward, how to hold our money safe?
So the plan going forward, because the old act is very restrictive in how we're able to place our funds. We place funds currently in deposit balances with banks where everything over the FDIC limit of $250,000 is collateralized.
Chairman, could somebody take care of this?
Jody, you got anybody that we could, yeah, tell them put the hammer up for just about 30 minutes.
Sorry, thank you.
You're good?
Take a break.
So every dollar over $250,000 is collateralized, meaning that, let's just use the example of $200 million. So $250,000 is FDIC insured. The remaining $199,750,000 is for the bank to collateralize. So the bank then takes that $199 million out and they go out and they buy something like a U.S. Treasury or a U.S. Corporate obligation. They invest that money in another security. So I guess in the traditional sense, so if you, Mr. Lay, you personally had $200 million and you put that $200 million in a bank, the bank's gonna break up that $200 million and go and loan that out. So they can make returns on that. To collateralize our dollars is very, very expensive. And it's going to get exponentially more expensive as the next year unfolds. And so what this act will do, so for that same $200 million, maybe we keep $100 million in a money market fund. We take another $50 million and put that in collateralized CDs. And the other $50 million, we just go out and buy U.S. Treasuries directly. So this act allows us to still utilize the same, and I like to call it plain vanilla type investments. You know, the allowable financial instruments in here, none of them are exotic. None of them are at this time considered risky. You know, they're considered to be the safest of the safe. And so that's what this act will do, is allow us to have greater, broader opportunities to place our cash in safe, secure investments.
In these, when you go out to these investments, or you go in, CMB goes in day and night. You're not gonna do that, I think, is that correct?
That's an option to us.
And if we did that, would you copy what they're doing over at CMB?
We are certainly going to leverage the expertise of CNB. You know, Doug Evans and Kim Barnett have pledged their full faith and support to us on this. As you know, we certainly don't want to recreate the wheel. We'll utilize them as we implement this law.
Funds will be government funds. They'll be kept separate from CMB money.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And when if you utilize, Doug, what do you guys call it? Sweep swaps? I'm not sure what. I remember when y'all went through this about 2 years ago.
Yeah, we, just for a little bit of a backdrop and history to this, when the Dodd-Frank bill turned out and was renewed a couple years ago, there was a when it was actually implemented, there was an unlimited FDIC insurance clause in that act that allowed us to hold unlimited insurance under FDIC, that allowed the business side to have uncollateralized deposits that were still insured deposits. But when that bill re-upped through Congress, that part of the bill was not. So we lost our ability to have insured deposits, and collateralization was not an option because the banks don't view CMB the same they view Cherokee Nation government, where they were allowed within their banking regs to actually issue collateral on deposits. So we literally were found in a spot where we had nowhere to go to protect our cash. That's when we began doing the Treasury Reserve investments and the sweeping activity, where we'll pull in 100+ bank accounts. And we're operating around 35 active companies right now. We have a little over 100 bank accounts, and we'll have anywhere on around 100 to 120 million available at any time. So the need to protect all those deposits was great, with not a lot of options to try to secure it. So the way we structured the sweep activity is around 3:30, 3, 4 o'clock, is that right? In the late afternoon, once most of the day's activities have already flown through the systems of the banks, we'll collectively take anything in excess of $250,000 that's sitting in any of these banks, and we'll sweep them all up, put them in an overnight Treasury Reserve Fund that's backed by Treasury, federal government paper, treasuries, T-notes, T-bills, anything that's protected by and backed by the full faith of the federal government. And then the next morning, we'll go through a repurchase, is what it's called. We repurchase those deposits into those Treasury reserves and bring it back down to have enough to operate. Now, you can imagine 100 million going up and down. That's not what we're doing. We take what we conceivably think we could possibly need that next day. Usually it's around 20 to 30 million. And we'll repurchase that amount. And then we have these manual investments, same type of investment vehicles. They're still Treasury Reserve, but to diversify our holdings, we didn't want to put all of it in one fund. So we took BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, and Bank of America Treasury Reserve. They're all Treasury-backed reserve funds, and we'll split it kind of equally among those 3 different reserve funds, just as another top of a hedge of any risk on the deposit side and the holdings. So that's kind of how that repurchase and sweep. We'll throw 20 or 30 in the daily sweep and repurchase. As we build up excess in that account, we'll pull out whatever appears to be excess and park it in those manuals, same type of investment, but it's a holding that stays there. And manual meaning we manage it manually. It's not daily, automatic. As we see special needs through capital expenditures or dividend payments or payrolls or whatever, we'll occasionally draw some out of the manuals, but that's kind of how, we have a board member that we're fortunate to have that has a strong financial presence in the financial marketplace, and we used his expertise, Mr. Turner, to help us set up this structure. It's been working very well for us, and especially due to the nature of the change in the laws that we have nowhere else to go. And it's ironic that, you know, two or 3 years have gone by since we had to take that pretty drastic approach. Now, Treasurer Horn and her duties for the Cherokee Nation is faced with the same issue we were faced with, is how do we protect these deposits, because there's not enough mattresses around. You know, and our vault's only so big. But when the banks change their rules and the way that they do business and the way they view large depositors, such as Cherokee Nation, they are changing the rules in the financial marketplace pretty drastically.
And that hit you guys 2 or 3 years ago, it's now hitting us.
Yes, sir.
And those are the changes needed to accommodate federal law changes, banking changes. And so, does your board get a report monthly, or how do they know where the money is?
We have a couple of different things. We have a monthly financial report that shows our holdings, how much cash we have on hand. Occasionally, we'll have, every quarter, I'll update them on our capital outlay plan for the next 5 years. And that capital outlay plan takes into account all of our cash resources as we're projecting them out for 5 years. They haven't, I started updating them on a quarterly basis as far as which one of these funds are holding how much in each one at any given time. And they said, well, that's not needed, you know, to be on on the report. I think they were trying to maintain confidentiality to a certain degree of what our cash position and holdings was from the general public. But it doesn't change a lot, although in the last 18 months, the amount of cash deposits that we hold at CMB are obviously ticking down a little bit because of the level of capital expenditures we've been making in not healthcare facilities, you know, which is a contributor, but also the expansion efforts at CMB and in our locations that across the 14 counties with several new casinos and hotels and regular investment cash or capital investment strategy. We don't invest money, we protect it.
Right.
We invest in
I understand.
something that's going to make a return.
And on the government side, we wouldn't really be faced with the, what I'm asking is, would the council also be get monthly reports where this money is or has been or where it's gone?
Yes, sir. In your monthly report that I send to tribal council, you have information in there on cash balances.
Okay.
As far as the financial institutions being utilized by the nation, I'm more than happy to include a listing of that in your reports.
At one point, you were going to give us an annual report. I didn't think that was enough.
Well, the act speaks to at least annually.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you don't want to make it say at least monthly or monthly, because sometimes council has truncated schedules. And so you have ENF, a little bit. And so sometimes we can't close quick enough to get our report into your book. So I don't want to get askew with the law, but I will commit to providing that report to you monthly.
And that's part of what some of my changes that I wanted to interject into this program, was that annually wasn't going to be enough. I don't want to put you in a bind on sometimes when we change council meetings. But this council needs to be aware more often than annually. Monthly would be good. And did you make that?
It still reads at least annually.
Okay. What, if you were changing the wording so that we could,
Could I offer at least quarterly? At least quarterly.
Quarterly would be better.
do I have to make it friendly to that?
Yeah, if that's what you're asking.
I'd like to do that at this point.
Are you able to deliver on that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so there's a friendly there with a quarterly report to the council. You accept that?
Who was the second? Yes, I'm fine with it.
Okay, okay.
So where is that in the act, please?
It's on page 2, bottom of the page, section 6. The Cherokee Nation Treasurer shall notify the Executive and Finance Committee of the Tribal Council and the Principal Chief on at least instead of an annual, a quarterly basis of all financial institutions utilized by the Cherokee Nation.
And would that have the amounts too also?
Is that what you're asking for as well?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'd still like to ask you to do that monthly when you can and
Sure.
when we don't mess up your schedule. I realize we do
Absolutely.
that sometimes. Yeah. Okay, I'm good.
Good. Counselor Walking Stick?
Hey Doug, on CMB, what's y'all's return on protecting your cash flow?
There essentially is no return
There's no
on
return?
deposits. Treasury Reserve's paying 1 basis point, which is 1/100th of 1%.
1/100th of 1%.
They don't have to pay returns when they're the only game in town that can protect these deposits with federal government backing.
So we're just breaking even, we're not paying fees, we're just breaking even.
I think to say breaking even would be aggressive, Counselor Walkenstick, because the financial marketplace right now is creeping into negative interest
Okay.
environment for the first time, which is kind of new to everyone,
Yeah.
where they're charging people to hold their deposits. So the days of putting money in a bank and earning a nice interest rate return are over right now, or they're not over, but they're not existent right now.
Okay.
The Swiss bank, the European bank, they're at 80 basis points, almost 1%. They're charging people to put money in their bank. And these fees that they're calling it either administrative fees, or they get creative on what they
Balance sheet
call
utilization.
balance sheet utilization fees. It's negative interest. It's people having to pay the bank to hold their money, which is, totally different than
What it was,
how it has been in history.
yeah.
It's kind of a new era here in the financial marketplace that a lot of these economies, not just in the United States, but this is something that's being dealt with across the globe. And when the number one priority of entities, not necessarily companies that hold large balances of cash like private equities and venture capital type organizations, they're out moving money in and out. They're purchasing, acquiring, consolidating, merging. But for organizations like the Cherokee Nation and Cherokee Nation businesses, it's about principal protection and preservation. And the banks know that. And if you keep your money in with a bank, which is not protected, banks can fail. When you leave it in with a bank and they charge you to put it in there and then still are not going to collateralize those deposits, the risk is far too great.
Sure.
And that's why the Treasury type backed funds, those 3 I mentioned earlier, they're predominantly, the underlying securities on those funds are like 90+% Treasury notes. The federal government would have to collapse, and it'd probably be a lot bigger problem than.
So instead of losing a lot of money, we're gonna be losing a little bit of money.
Well, if we can avoid those excessive fees by doing things like what we're talking about in this piece of legislation
Yeah.
will allow,
Yeah.
then we can avoid those fees to a certain degree and get the protection of the deposits at the same time. Where without it, we have both, risk of both of those two negatives that we'd be facing, so.
Sure. All right, thank you, Lacy. Thank you.
You good?
Chair.
Okay, I think you had, Counselor Garvin, you have your hand up?
Yes, thank you. I just want to mention about those negative rates on those big banks in Europe and back east. You mentioned Goldman Sachs. Anymore, it's those treasury bills and some of those things, there's no money to be made there. There is some protection. You mentioned BlackRock. Was it global or energy?
BlackRock Fund,
Yes.
their securities or who owns the fund?
Who owns them?
Do you know, Kim? Do you have their prospectus there? It's the institutional shares of a treasury. I don't see any international.
No.
It's all treasury debt and treasury repurchase, so it's all gonna be federal, domestic.
BlackRock Global then.
I'd say so.
And it's all US paper.
Okay, that's quite a job you got, keeping this money risk-free and debt-free, and I don't know what else, but I think you're doing a good job, Lacy, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Counselor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. Yes, Counselor Buzzard?
Lacey, sorry I can't get the return your phone call, but how many banks do you anticipate doing business with the Cherokee Nation money?
That can depend, depending on how much we have on hand. You know, the nation, can have on hand anywhere from $200 million to $400 million. So, I mean, we're gonna try to house it in a few primary locations, and, yeah, and then as needed, bring on others.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well, any more questions? Okay, well, why don't we do, since legislative act, Shelley, let's do roll call vote on this.
By acclamation?
By acclamation? Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Acclamation?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, good job, Council.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I would like to make a motion to amend today's agenda.
Okay. Motion to amend the agenda.
Second motion.
Got a second? Discussion?
For what purpose? I'd like to make a motion to appoint Janelle Fulbright to the CNB board.
Okay. Item number 9 for the appointment of former Counselor Janelle Fulbright. Any more discussion? Okay, this is the vote to amend the agenda. It'll take 2/3 votes. Is that correct? Yes. Let's do, okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Abstain.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Janelle Fulbright to the CNB board.
Second motion.
We were going to do that item at the
Oh,
bottom.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
okay, thank you.
But we did amend the agenda, so that's
Yes, sir.
noted.
Thank you.
So we get to number 9, we'll address that, okay? Okay, now we'll go to the selection. Oh, have we done roll call vote yet? Are we good, acclamation? Okay, selection of committee chairs. At this time, we need to vote on the co-chair of the Rules Committee.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate David Thornton.
Motion to nominate David Thornton, second? Second?
What
Okay.
board?
Co-chair of Rules.
You want it?
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Now we need a chair of E&F.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to nominate Janice Taylor. for that.
Okay. Motion nominate Janice Taylor. Second?
Yes.
Second by Rex. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Co-chair of E&F? Yes, Councilor Taylor.
Nominate Keith Austin.
Second that.
Motion for Keith Austin, and got a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Community Service, need a chair. Counselor Taylor?
I'd like to nominate Dick Lay. I think he's currently.
Okay, got a motion for Dick Lay, got a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Co-chair of Community Services?
Harley's sitting on
Harley's
that.
already sitting there, okay. Education, need a chair for education. Rex?
Walking stick.
Counselor Walkenstick? Need-
Second.
Got a second? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, Don's already sitting there. Chairman of Health?
I'd like to nominate Frankie Hargis to that.
Okay, got a motion by Counselor Taylor,
Second.
second by Counselor Vasquez. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Co-chair of Health?
I'm sitting there now, but I don't know if that means anything.
Brian, you was up for election.
If you were up for election, it's open.
Yeah, it's over.
I nominate Brian Warner.
Motion to nominate Brian Warner, need a second?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Resources, Chairman? Kurt, you stay, need a co-chair?
I'm currently in that position, but I would like to step down and I nominate Rex Jordan.
Motion nominate Rex Jordan, need a second?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It's good of you, Counselor Hargis. Okay, dropping down to, I've got C&B Advisory Board. There's 4 that will remain. That's myself, Counselor Hargis, Counselor Thornton, and Counselor Snell. 4 positions. Counselor,
I'd like to nominate Victoria Vasquez.
motion nominate Victoria Vasquez. Need a second?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Speaker.
I'd like to nominate Rex Jordan.
Okay, motion nominate Rex Jordan. Got a second? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2 more.
I think Keith Austin would be good on there.
Okay, Counselor Taylor nominates Keith Austin. Need a second.
Second.
Got a second? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And Red Ones, I'd like to nominate Wanda Hatfield.
Wanda Hatfield. Okay, need a second.
Second.
Got a second by Rex Jordan. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we've got Sandy Waste Management. So far, Frankie, you're on there. Need 1 more.
I'd like to nominate Sean Crichton since that is in his district.
Okay, motion to
Second.
nominate Sean Crittenden. Got a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
How many positions on waste management?
There was 1 vacant,
What was
and
that?
that will be in Sean's district.
Okay.
You didn't want that, did you?
I did it.
Okay. Cherokee Nation Housing Authority Advisory Board, we have Frankie, Counselor Hargis, Counselor Snell, Counselor Taylor, so we'll need 2 on there. Counselor Taylor,
To nominate Rex Jordan.
nomination to put Rex Jordan on there. Need a second?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hey, Speaker, since I had election, I'm not on there no more, right?
That's correct.
Hey, how many positions we need to fill on that?
We got 1 left.
I'd
Go ahead,
I'd
Counselor
like to
Hargis.
nominate Brian Warner from Clay County.
Okay, motion to nominate Brian Warner.
Second.
Got a second? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Okay. Intertribal Council, at this time, myself and Counselor Thornton are on there. Need two.
I would like to nominate Janice Taylor.
Okay, motion nominate Janice Taylor. Got a second? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Yes, Counselor Hargis.
I currently serve on that, and I'd like to step down from that one also, and I nominate Jack Baker.
Motion nominate Jack Baker.
Second.
Got a second? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, down to the last three here, Speaker, Deputy Speaker, and Secretary. Need a motion to nominate a Speaker?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to step down from Rules Co-Chair.
Okay,
Go ahead and nominate somebody.
okay. It's really a rewarding job. Anybody want co-chair of rules?
I'd
Yes,
like to
Counselor
nominate-
Vasquez.
I would like to nominate Frankie Hargis.
Okay, motion to nominate Counselor Hargis. Got a second? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, Frankie, congratulations. Okay, back to the Speaker, Deputy Speaker, and Secretary. Yes, Counselor Wamstead.
Make a motion to have Chief Byrd be speaker.
Second.
Motion and a second. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, I'll try it. Deputy Speaker, need a motion?
I think Victoria Vasquez.
Okay,
Second.
a motion and a second for Victoria Vasquez, Deputy Speaker. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Secretary. Yes, Counselor Taylor.
Frankie Hargis.
A second.
A motion and a second for Counselor Hargis for Secretary of the Council. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Anything else, Shelley?
Oh, number
Number
9.
nine.
No, Brian.
Okay, now coming to item number 9 for Counselor Warner. This is, we amended the agenda, so you want to take that on for nomination? I think former Counselor Fulbright is here and the Secretary, so you guys want to have a seat and give us your spiel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With great pride, the chief presents your former colleague, Councilor Fulbright, to serve on the C&B board. Appreciate the council amending the agenda today. This gives the counselor, the former counselor, an opportunity to hit the ground running quickly if she's confirmed. And I would say this, I bet there hasn't been a nominee that has been more vetted or scrutinized than Janelle Fulbright. She's been in public life for over a decade. She's stood for election successfully in her district. She's someone that's known, one that brings something to the C&B board that I think will make it even stronger than it is. Very much a community-oriented person with deep roots in her community. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I turn it over to my former colleague if she'd like to make some remarks with your blessing.
Go ahead.
I'm happy to be here. I was honored that the chief nominated me for this position. I would like to say that I do feel like I am well qualified for it. For many years, I was on the gaming commission and I attended so many different schools, seminars, different workshops, and I also attended the National Judicial College at UNLV at Las Vegas, and I was on there for 7 years. I was appointed by Chief Joe Byrd, and I was reappointed by Chief Chad Smith for two more terms, and I learned a lot about gambling. When he first called me and asked me to be on the gaming commission, I said, I don't know anything about gaming. I'm just a Presbyterian Sunday school teacher. And so I worked with 2 different administrations on the gaming commission. I did learn a lot about it. And then I've been on the tribal council for 8 years, and the past 4 years I was chair of the health committee, and it was quite a learning curve for me. I really enjoyed it. We've made a lot of progress. I tried to work with the administration, plus the other counselors, always trying to say, what is the big picture, just not what is right for Sequoyah County. But I will say I'm proud to be nominated from down south. Most all the other board members are around the Tahlequah area or Tulsa, so I'll be representing a different part of the district. If you have any questions for me, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions, anyone, comments? Yes, Counselor Buzzard.
Yeah, I got a comment. Janelle, I'm happy to see that you're going to be on the board, I believe. And I'm glad to see that you're not in Cherokee County. I know we have a lot of good people in Cherokee County, but I think we need to expand our horizon a little bit more than Cherokee County, so I'll be voting.
Thank you, Harley, for those kind words.
Anybody else? Well, I think we'll just take it to a vote here. We got a motion and a second, is that correct? All in favor signify by putting Janelle Fulbright on CMN board. Say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I will do you a good service.
I think that just concludes our meeting here. I would like to let the council know that usually we don't take these last-minute amendments on our agenda here, but it was an exceptional case requested by the secretary, and so I personally, when I'm chairing the meeting, I don't like last-minute information to fall on my desk if I hadn't had a chance to review it. So that's just for your information. We made an exception today, but I don't like to follow that format. So if I refuse to amend the agenda on a last-minute issue, unless it's very important for the sake of our people, then you'll know why. There's a reason for that. So with that, I'd like to congratulate all the new council members. Welcome. I mean, you got a pretty good taste of that. And I'd like to welcome all the cabinet level people today that got reaffirmed, and our visitors. Got a lot of work to do here at Cherokee Nation, and I think what I'll do is give each new council member or current council member a chance to speak 2 or 3 minutes on being elected and what your feelings are. You didn't get to do that inauguration, and now you have that time. Councilor Austin?
You didn't tell us about this in advance. Well, it is a pleasure to be representing the people of District 14. It's an honor to be sitting at this table with these colleagues. I am humbled to be asked to conduct the business of the people, and it's really a wonderful thing to watch how life unfolds, and you find yourself in places where you never expected. But here we are. And I'm truly honored. Thank you.
Welcome. Councilor Critton?
Like Mr. Austin, I was humbled during the campaign. Got with the folks in my district, District 8. Just told them I believe the job is to represent them first and foremost in my district. Be their voice. Something comes up. That's what they voted me in there for, is to speak for them, to work for them, meet their needs however I can. Then come and work with you good folks. I'm confident that we're going to have a good working relationship, so thank you.
Councilor Warner?
I'd like to say, it was an honor and a privilege, as these two gentlemen have stated, to be elected to represent District 6. And as I stated all along, I want it to be an all-inclusive effort, and that includes the citizens of District 6, and it also includes everyone else, the citizens that are here, because what's good inside my district should be good for all of us.
Sure.
And this collaboration that this group undertakes with our citizens and amongst ourselves will be key and vital. It'll be that vital source that's important for us forging ahead and to be a healthy nation and a successful nation. And I thank you, and it's an honor to serve with you individuals. Thank you.
Very well taken. Councilor Lay?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and it's a privilege, an honor, And it kind of chokes you up a little bit to realize you're serving your people. And it's when it finally hits home after you've come through an election that they blessed you and trusted you to go to Tahlequah to serve on their behalf. And we're just now starting to see some of the services up north that some of you in Tahlequah have been used to for 30 years. And the chief doesn't know what I'm gonna ask for next, so he better be ready.
Councilor Walkenstick.
First, congratulations on being speaker. I was praying for you and hope you get this position. And,
Thank you.
and also thank you for giving us the opportunity to say a few words, because I know the inauguration was somebody's based around the chief and deputy chief, and we all got elected. So I thank you for letting us say a few words. But I just want I'm very humbled by the support of our constituents in District 3. The strengths we have in our business area and administration, and all the council members that got elected, and the council members that are on here now, you guys have so many strengths and so much diversity that we all come from different backgrounds. And I'm 100% confident that our tribes can move forward. And this next 4 years is going to be very great for our people. And I'm excited to see what's going on. And we have an outstanding group of administration, cabinet level, and council members. So that will go.
Councilor Jordan.
It is an honor to represent District 1, but not only them, but the Cherokee people. And it's a privilege to sit here at this table with the knowledge that's here. Thank you.
Councilor Hatfield.
I'm looking forward to working with Jack Baker, a man with much knowledge. I've known Jack for a long time, so it's going to be a privilege working with him. But not only Jack, but everyone else in this room. And being an at-large member, majority of my life, with roots in Adair County, I think gave me a definite advantage. Because so many of my, how many minutes do I have? So many of our at-large citizens have roots in this area, you know, and I'm going to cry because this was a very emotional time when they would ask me about Dahlonega, or they'd ask me about Sperry or Eugene or Tulsa area, and I could relate, or to Veneta, you know, and you know, Salisaw Creek, if it's Adair County. And if you know those places, you know, I'm from Cherry Tree, and they would be from Cherry Tree. So it was an emotional time, but at the same time, they have needs just like you and I do in the 14 county area. They want to communicate. They want to be closer to us, no matter what we have to do that, but they just want a connection. Because when you think about Cherokees, you know, we're from the east, we're in Oklahoma, and many of them are on the west coast, or that area. So it's very important, no matter who you are, if you're just on this council, it's very important that they make a connection, and that's basically, I think, what they want is just a way to make a connection. But I feel very honored. I was an educator for years, and so you know, children are very, very, very important to me. You'll hear this over and over with me. Elders. I always say those of us in the middle, we can work, you know, but we have that's very important to us. But I'm honored, and I just get to be in eastern Oklahoma considerably, which makes me very happy, and my family is here. So it's like the guy said, I'm humbled. I mean, it's just, I've learned so much today already. I mean, you know, we're guys, I'm working with these gentlemen, we're talking about how much you have to learn, and that's
that's the frightening part, is like, I looked at these books, and I'm like, oh, it's college all over, but I'm privileged, I feel privileged, and I will be of service, and always, you can call me anytime, anybody, and I'll be glad to talk to you.
Yeah.
And I took too much time, I know.
You're good. Counselor England?
Thank you, Speaker, and congratulations on yours today. And I'm also, just like everybody else, I feel privileged and humbled that the citizens of my district, District 14, or District 13, sorry, they've changed around so many times, but District 13 is where we're at now, and I'm glad that they felt the need to send me back down here to Tahlequah to represent them, and I feel like I can work with everybody in this room, and I'm glad that we have the staff that we have that keeps watch on everything. And but without anything else, I'm glad to be back. So, thank you.
Well, announcements.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Counselor Bowles.
And I may be speaking prematurely here, but do we plan on having a tour for the new council members to go and visit different entities here tonight? Has that been set up yet?
I think it has.
I'd certainly like to go again. I think it's good for sitting council members to go, and I'd certainly like to go.
I know the council, the legislative department is, and we're working with the executive branch. Secretary, can you shine any light on this?
Yeah, we do have a schedule, and I think we could probably accommodate.
Did Secretary come forward? I'd like to say.
We're going to get the schedule. I don't have it at the fingertips. There was a tour planned over a period of days, but I'm sure that the tour can accommodate additional. We just defer to the legislative branch on who participates.
Sure. And we may not be able to do all of the in one setting there, but we're a big tribe, but we'll have opportunities to see all of our facilities and meet all the different departments.
There's even facilities in
Okay. Yes, Councilor Thornton. Secretary, I think Thornton has
Terry,
it.
would you come back, please?
There is an orientation tomorrow for the new council members here. Isn't it still tomorrow?
Chuck, thought about this and talked with the chair about this a little bit, and I think it would really help the new ones that come in if you would have all the departments create a flow chart and put the executive director and the director and supervisors on that flow chart, and along with the positions, so they'll know what position is what, and put the name of the person that's in that position. And I hope I don't have to make a motion.
I think we just, for information purposes.
Councilor, we can do
And
that.
I think it will help them tremendously, but not only them, I'm getting a little older, and it'd probably help me remember too.
We can do that. We may not have it ready for tomorrow's orientation meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Try, but if we don't, we'll make sure we get that out to the.
Also, some type of contact information on there. Do you think that could be possible?
We will work on that and get it.
Without a vote?
You-
Okay.
I
I
don't need a vote.
know it's gonna help them tremendously, because it took me a long time before I got to know a lot of the people, and there's a lot of them I still don't know. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Buzzard, you have a comment?
I just had a comment, and I'm not sure who would handle it, whether it be the legislative side or the administrative side, but, you know, we used to have a resources book, and what it told, what Councilor Thornton was just talking about, director's name, contact numbers, but then it had a list of every program within the nation and a brief description of what they serve. I found that book to be really, really helpful when we used to get them, so if the administration could help us with that, I would really appreciate it.
Well, as it happens in connection with the orientation, we've been developing that kind of resources, so good idea.
Thank you.
I think once they go through the orientation, they'll get a better idea of what we need, and there's a lot of this information already in there that's planned. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, anybody else? Counselor Taylor.
Kind of a matter of housekeeping for us. I have been visiting with Shelley about doing our books that we get twice a month on our laptops or our iPads or something like that, instead of having them printed. And so if you all have an opinion one way or another, visit with her and just, she can go with whatever makes everybody happy, so just visit with her and kind of let her know your preference on that.
I've got a question.
Yes, Counselor Thornton.
I don't, you know, that'd be great with everyone sitting here with a laptop and looking at everything, just like CNB does. But I've got a problem when you go putting out on Twitter and other programs, email, Facebook, and I mean, we've been through that. And I hate to be sitting here trying to think about what's going on. And somebody call me and say, what in the world is going on? You got this and this and this going on. Well, I don't think that should happen, but that's the way I feel about it. Thank you.
Okay. I think I'll go ahead and make my announcement. The council members that are going to the tri-council, you need to make sure all of your arrangements are made with Gail and Shelley and Carla before you leave out today. Make sure everything is confirmed. Make sure we're all on the right page. So, with that, good meeting, long meeting, and we got a lot of work to do here. So, with that, yes, I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn here. Second, all in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.